What's up, world? And welcome to a special playoff edition of the OH.Report video podcast, where over the next several minutes, me and the boys, we're going to break down the high school football playoffs. So we're going to tell you who's hot, who's not, who we think is going to be making some deep playoff runs, maybe some who are going to stumble over some big hurdles along the way. And you might notice that it's another Victory Monday. It's been a while here on the OH.Report podcast since I got to dress up, so feeling fresh today. Thank you, brownies. My name is Brian Skoronsky. Got all the clan back with me, though. Let's go ahead. Let's flip around the camera. Just surprise us who it's going to be. Who else we got with us today? Hey, how about these guys? Introduce yourselves.
I'm Storm Blunchley. Haven't had a Victory Monday yet.
Bummer.
Garrett Parlett. I had one last week and had a bye this week, so technically, yes, another Victory Monday for me.
So one win between two people right there. And, well, how about that guy? Let's go back to him.
Oh, the Big Mac.
Hey guys, Travis Berardi here. We had the bye, but it's always a Victory Monday when the Baltimore Ravens lose, and I think you'd agree, Brian.
Woo-wee! Yeah, I think we can all cheer for that here collectively, and last but not least.
Hayden Gray here, and Travis said it. We had a bye week, so we didn't win or lose, so I'm going to chalk that up to a win.
All right, guys. Well, the high school football brackets got put out yesterday. If you want to see a whole cascade of who's playing who and what all went down, Travis Berardi and myself came in yesterday. We talked for like an hour and a half about all the matchups, had some great coach interviews, broke it all down. But it started to get me thinking a little bit of the top-tier seeds, guys, who we've been covering throughout the season. Who do you think has the most difficult road ahead of them to try to make it to a state Final Four, which would mean they would have to advance out of their region? We'll begin over here with the two gentlemen with the one win between them. Break it down for me. Who's got the hardest road ahead?
Well, I think we actually do agree on this one, G-Man, but I'm going to go with the Shelby Whippets. They have a lot of one-loss teams in their bracket, which, you know, that's never a good sign when you're trying to get out of it. And two very scary teams in front of them. Van Wert, who knocked them out of the playoffs last year, and Bellevue, who actually knocked them off in a shootout earlier this season. So it's gonna be hard. Not to mention that they do have to play Clear Fork again this week. It's in my personal belief, it's a little bit harder to beat that team the second time around. But I mean, I just think it's gonna be a hard road for them.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to go with Shelby, and I think it's because they haven't played that much of competition throughout the year. Their lone two losses come to Bellevue and West Holmes. Obviously, those two teams are playoff caliber teams, but the rest of the schedule, really, if they didn't expand the playoffs, I don't know if any of those teams would have made the playoffs in the 8-seed format. So I think they're a little one-dimensional, too. They rely on the passing game a bit too much. I mean, I believe they pass up to 50 times a game, Storm, and that's a little much. I believe Skylar Winters had 6 carries, last game, and that's not going to get it done, especially when you got to go on the road. The defense has got to step up, and they got a lot of teams in their bracket that are very tough and powerhouse football programs. Bellevue, Clyde, Van Wert, just to name a few. So I think Shelby has the most difficult schedule and postseason run if they want to make it to a state title run.
Yeah, and at 8-2, maybe a little bit undervalued in terms of their seed. They're sitting down there at the number 7. So pour a little bit of gravy on top here, Hayden. Tell us why is it the Whippets?
Yeah, normally I like to spice things up just for variety, but after taking a look at the brackets, I really couldn't go away with Shelby. You know, both Storm and G touched on it. It's always tricky to beat a team twice, especially when you're going to have to play them in back-to-back weeks. So that's difficult. If you're able to get out of that game, you have a really good Clyde team who beat them a few years back, the year that Clyde won the state championship. If you're able to make it out of that round, you got to potentially play Van Wert, defending state champs. So a hard road ahead, definitely. As they said, a bit one-dimensional this year, so Marshall Shepard's going to have to play lights out if they hope to advance, and he's going to need help. They're going to have to change up the game plan a little bit because teams that haven't seen them yet, they're going to be looking at film of them this year. They're going to pick up on that pretty quickly. So I just can't, especially with the teams that we cover, I cannot see a team that has a harder road than the Whippets.
That's a lot of state title holders and contenders right in there. So a lot of chips, maybe not a lot of dip for the Whippets. Tough region for them to get out of, but let me and Berardi break it down for you, tell you who the real most difficult challenge is laid out ahead.
That's going to be the Crestview Cougars. Despite being a number 2 seed in the region, they just got a terrible draw. They win their first-round matchup with Northwood. They would have to take on Colonel Crawford, Lincoln Mollenkoff, the second-rated rusher in the area. And then if they get by there, Eric Will's Carry Baby team sits with them in the regional semifinal, and then possibly an Archbold or Columbus Grove in the championship. This Crestview Cougars team, they're a team that has the ability to do it, but they got a tough path to get to the regional final.
There are some flat-out monsters at the top of the stack. 3 undefeated teams are all in the Cougars region. Yeah, I understand that they're one of them, but then there's the 2 9-1 squads that they're going to have to play in round 2 and then potentially round 3. We already saw what happened when Cary and Crestview meet up in the postseason. Now, I know that was last year. That was a long time ago, G-Man, but you saw with your own eyes what the Blue Devils were able to do to them. So that's just to get into the regional title game. And let's say that they can get through that gauntlet. Guess what? Archbold might be waiting for them. We broke it down yesterday about how good they've been throughout the season. Unbelievably dominant. So for the Cougars, even though in my opinion this is the most complete team in North Central Ohio, hands down, bar none, they're the best team that we have collectively. Ooh, they have a really, really tough road ahead of them. So could be some bumps along the way. What say you Crestview folk about the potential of the Cougs advancing?
Well, I think that the Cougars are always underrated. So, I think that they like that. I think that they like when people don't necessarily think that they're the best. I personally think that they have a pretty good shot this year. But people like that bulletin board material over there at Crestview.
And I think Crestview is definitely going to be my favorite. And here's why. I do agree that they have a very tough schedule. They probably do have one of the toughest brackets and one of the toughest draws. But they're the most complete team we've seen, and we've all been doubting them all year long. They couldn't beat St. Paul. We didn't know if they'd beat East Knox. Multiple people in this room actually picked them to lose that game against East Knox. Don't want to call anybody out, but that is a fact, especially Travis. But
always
they're the most complete
to
team, and their defense is really the anchor. We all talk about the offense and Connor Morris and Hayden Kuhn, but they're only allowing 10.4 points per game. That's remarkable. And to be able to make the state playoffs, you got to beat top caliber teams. And we've all been doubting Crestview. I think it's this year if they want to make a run. I just don't see the other teams in this area making a deep run like Crestview, especially Shelby, obviously, as I mentioned. They have a very tough schedule.
All right, so let's totally change the conversation then. Travis and I think that they have the hardest road ahead, do the Cougars. G-Man actually thinks that they have the best chance to get out of their region, so let's debate, boys. Who out of our top-tier teams right here in North Central Ohio could you potentially forecast getting to a state Final Four, Hayden? Who are you looking at?
Yeah, I'm going to switch notes, and I'm going to go with the Lucas Cubs, and I'm going to do so because they have 2 home games, so we've all had the chance to be down there at least once in our time with the OH.Report, and the atmosphere is fantastic there, so it's always nice to be able to play those games at home where you feel comfortable. We talked a lot about they're starting to get healthy. Obviously, Finello came back, and you saw what they were able to do with him back, and they're still not at 100%, so that's good for them, scary for their competition. They're an experienced group of kids. They've made the postseason 8 straight seasons in a row, so it's one of those things where the culture there is winning, and you have that mentality of being at this part of the year, so that's going to help them with the experience. They obviously have a favorable first-round matchup against 3-6 Mapleton. I know that doesn't – after the first round, you're not getting to state, but I just think mentally and mindset-wise, they are solid across the board, and even in these clips you've seen – this is a team that runs the wing tee, and that's it, and that's one of the biggest things they have. For a team that only runs, I've been able to see some passing from them, and if they can do that, that makes them even more dynamic. So I think that they have a tough road, but I still think they're my favorite to make it to the state title game, and I'd be excited to see them there.
Well, if there's any team certainly in our area that you would feel comfortable betting some money so they go and win some playoff games, it's Scott Spittler and his boys. They never get ousted in the first round. They're typically playing for regional championships. And Travis, you feel like they're going to be doing the same this year?
Yeah, Hayden pretty much took everything that I was going to say away from me. Thanks, buddy. You could have left something for me. But, getting Finella back healthy, having that 3-headed attack of Finella, Grant Barrett, and Zane Finley, who we saw just had a monster run at Mogador. You also have the opportunity, if they get a couple games, Logan Toms could be coming back as well to solidify that defensive back system for them. But this squad always plays the tough schedules. We talked with Coach Spittler yesterday. If they were healthy, I think they'd be a 10-0 squad this year. They had that one slip up with Canton Central Catholic, not a team to sleep on either. This squad, and they have an easy first round matchup with Mapleton, and then second round, I think it's a very winnable game, especially being at home. The regional semifinal, probably going to get a bit of a test with Dalton or Independence there, but I think still once again winnable. I think the Lucas Cubs, I believe, should be favored in every matchup, not only because they're the number 1 seed, but I think they're just better than everybody else.
Not so fast, my friend. When you look at this Region 25, as I am with my own eyes right now, the top 13 teams all have winning records. That's not the case for a lot of these regions, and I'm looking at some small school powers. You already mentioned Dalton. Warren JFK kind of took it to Lucas, shut them out last year when they met up in the postseason. Norwalk St. Paul maybe isn't that flight type of team that we're used to seeing from the Flyers year in and year out, but they're the number 2 seed lurking in there. You mentioned Independence, Cuyahoga Heights. Both of those teams Lucas has already taken care of in previous postseasons, but there's a lot of big-time teams waiting out there for the Cubs after week 1. We all think they're going to get it done against Mapleton, of course.
But look, JFK, they lost to Mogador. Lucas beat them. These other teams with 5, 6, 7 wins, look at their schedule. They beat teams that are under 500. Just looking at an overall schedule that Lucas had, they played tougher competition than most of these squads.
Yeah, they'll go anywhere, play anybody, anytime. That's what we love about Spittler and his staff. What do you think, Storm? Any of these guys know what they're talking about?
I think they all make fair points, but I'm going to go with West Holmes. It's hard to argue with 10-0, just like Crestview. I think they have a pretty good shot, but I think West Holmes, it's just hard to argue with 10-0. They're the number 2 seed, which gives them a big advantage with 2 home games, obviously. And the biggest thing, I think, is that they beat a lot of good teams this year, like Shelby, Triway, Mansfield Senior, who's ranked 4th in their playoff bracket, they've proved it during the regular season. It's just about getting it done in the postseason now. And, they have a lot of weapons at pretty much every position. I think that they're one of the most complete teams right there along with Crestview. And another big thing is that they aren't locked down. They aren't really one-dimensional. They can pass. They can run. Their defense is stellar. They're just a super complete and whole squad.
Yeah, West Holmes is the one reason that makes me just a little bit nervous about my pick here, guys. But just a little bit. But I'm going with the Mansfield TY Tigers because when you really look deep into this Division III Region 10, West Holmes, that's about the only team that really, gives you the shivers other than Norton. But we haven't got to see them personally here in North Central Ohio. At least I haven't got a chance, even though Norton looks like they might be the real deal. But outside of that, guys, there's a lot of teams with losing records. Matter of fact, after the 8 seed, everybody in there looks very beatable. So for the Tigers, they're opening round game, they get Lexington, a familiar foe that they handled in the regular season. Actually, I guess it was kind of close with the Tigers. I don't think it was quite as close as the final score were to indicate. Mansfield Senior gets to play them at home again. You expect them to get by, which would set up potentially a second round game with Padua Franciscan. And to your point, Travis, about some of the level of competition, the Bruins haven't played anybody this year. So for the Tigers, they've been battle tested. They've gone on the road. They've played some tough teams. They played West Holmes to their best game of the season, in my opinion. So for Mansfield, I feel like at least the first couple of rounds are going to not necessarily be a cakewalk, but they're going to be a big favorite, should get through to at least a regional semifinal. Then it's up in the air if they can get there, but I feel like the Tigers are starting to play the best complementary football of any team in the area, not named Crestview, because they match up the offense now with the run game, the brand new run game that they suddenly discovered with the offensive line coming to life here over the last several weeks with that potent passing game. And we already know they're the most physical team in the secondary in North Central Ohio. Them boys are big, they're fast, they're hungry. Tigers are on the prowl. I think they probably will get to a regional final.
Yeah, and I agree with that completely. For the last 5 games, Mansfield Senior total rushing yards over 100. There are only one game that didn't happen. That was against Madison because they just threw up and down the field. They didn't need it to go. So in the last 5 games, we said they needed a rushing game. The offensive line's getting better. They're getting, that RPO type play from Brock Hill, who's making better passes downfield. He's also opening it up with the run game. And that defense, who we thought was great to start the year, just keeps getting better each week in and week out. I mean, look at the highlights of the Worcester game. Worcester, despite being 5-5, they're a pretty darn good team. And Mansfield Senior just completely waxed the floor with them.
All right, so that's it for our predictions. Weigh in on the comment section. Let us know, who's kind of smart, maybe who dropped off a little bit.
Oh, did we? No,
I
think G-Man
I did go.
Oh, you went first?
He's going with the Cougs.
My bad.
You know where his heart lies. Come on now.
Yeah, I mean,
Come on now.
Let me add this, though. Let me add this. I got another point.
Listen.
Crestview dominated 2 playoff teams that they faced on their schedule. St. Paul, who was a 2 seed.
Facts.
And a 4 seed in East Knox, who's 8-2. That's all I gotta say. And they dominated them. It wasn't. Those games were never close.
And I think they have a good shot at making it to a regional championship and further. I'm just saying the path is really tough for them.
I think the question was the path, G-Man, and not if we think they get there.
About the journey.
Travis picked East Knox. And
Yes,
if
we
they-
know, and
if
I've
they go on,
apologized
I don't wanna
multiple
hear
times to
Travis
them in person, but you
hopping
just
on.
can't. Why can't
That's
you
it,
live
that's
this
it, move
down,
on.
G?
Move
Why
on.
can't
Move
you
on.
live it down,
Move on.
G? Because
Fans
you're the
don't
only
wanna
one that's
forget
still
it.
bothered by this.
Move on.
Let's move on.
Come on, G.
Never forget.
Fake.
You ladies done? Okay. Well, on Friday nights, we let you guys know who the winners are every single week from our nominees of the Friday Night Phenoms, as well as the top play of the week. So you guys vote, you decide, and here are your winners from last week, week 9. Every week here on the OH Report, we take some nominees, we shake them up, we unload them to you, and then you vote, you decide what was the best individual performance that you saw. So let's show you who the winner was, Friday Night Phenom, from week number 9. And after all the votes were counted up, how about the senior standout quarterback for the East Knox Bulldogs, Peyton Lester, showing out? He didn't have to put it through the air a ton, just 12 attempts on the night, but he completed 9 of them. 4 of those went into the end zone, went over 200 yards passing on the night. Peyton Lester, a flat-out animal in this game, as the Bulldogs kept their KMAC championship season alive with a win over Highland. It was a huge win, and this is the best throw that I think I've seen all season, dropping it right into the bucket. Congratulations to Peyton Lester. We also do the same thing with our nominees for the top play of the week. We gave you a bunch of them last week, I think. There were a lot of decisions to be made. 9 of them or something crazy. Here it is. Here's your winner. And no surprise that, guess what? Trojan Nation showed up and voted once again. Tyler Johnson, 69 yards, ripping through the Northmore defense, skirt all the way into the end zone. A huge run for Centerburg and Tyler Johnson. Let's see it one more time. It was so good. How about Centerburg winning again? They've got the best fan base I think the OH.Report has. At me if you guys think that I'm wrong, but they seem to win every single week. I think Centerburg and East Knox won. So KMAC, the love, it's real. So there you have it, guys. Some winners from Week 9. Hey, always appreciate you guys out there in North Central Ohio weighing in with the votes. No surprise, KMAC continues to be king. They just got the best fan bases. Prove me wrong, getting some votes this week. Now, it is time to meet your nominees for Week number 10, your Friday Night Phenoms. Roll them. And let's begin with, hey, how about some KMAC teams, boys? Let's get it fresh off the tip. And why not? When you're doing stuff like this, what Cole DeLauder has been able to do this season, he totes the rock a bunch. He finds the end zone a bunch. And what I like most about him is that he's versatile, man. He knifes through your defense. He can catch in the open field, too. I think he's got like 4 receiving touchdowns. And this all in the Devil Dog game. 3 big scores, Hayden. Superstar right here.
Yeah, you saw in that first clip, he wasn't afraid to fight through contact, show patience, and use the lineman to get through for a touchdown. You know, he was just kind of like a magnet to the end zone this game. Every run, he's seeing the field really well, making good decisions, and he doesn't blow you away with his speed, but man, the kid sure does try and fight through contact. He's just a good, versatile player, and he's going to be big if East Knox wants to look to make a run in this postseason.
So Cole DeLauder, our first nominee of the East Knox Bulldogs, and just a sophomore back on the list. How about some more K-Maction and Jay Melchiori? Had 4 catches, 2 of them for big scores though, and boy, you're going to love the highlight when you see one of these touchdowns. Travis, this kid is a bit of a game changer for Highland. He complements the run game that they have very nicely because he gives them a big play threat. You almost have to put safety help over top.
Exactly. In the first 6-7 weeks, it was all Dane Nauman helping Highland get out to a 3-3 or 4-3 record. But then Coach Ty Stover, they started implementing more passing plays and something just like that. You might see that here in a little bit as well again. But Jay Melchiori helping that balanced offensive attack now as Highland goes into the postseason with a home game.
How about the play of Brock Hill as of late, the Mansfield senior leader at quarterback? he has taken his game to another level. 5 total touchdowns in a cross-city rivalry showdown. And I know it's against Madison, G-Man, but hey, when there's those bragging rights at stake, he still, I mean, he put a bunch of those in the bag and took them with him.
Yeah, he's picked up his play recently. He's a big reason the TY Tigers are gaining a lot of steam here before the postseason. And he went for he was 13 to 19, 193 passing yards. He had 4 passing touchdowns and a rushing touchdown, so 5 total touchdowns for Mr. Hill. And what makes him so special, Brian, is his elusiveness down the field. Right here you see his pocket awareness, gets out of the pocket. He is always looking to get extra yards, as Brock Hill is a big reason why the TY Tigers are looking for some more postseason wins.
I think he's got a good head on his shoulders. He's got a rocket for an arm, and he's one of the best athletes on the team. I've seen this dude personally in the weight room. He can tear it up. So can Marshall Shepard. I mean, hallelujah, Lord. Can this man get some votes when you get some numbers like this? This is the most ridiculous day, the best performance that we've seen in 10 weeks, period. He did it all. 7 total touchdowns.
Was that over 100 yards rushing? Was that over 300 yards passing, Storm?
Yes, sir.
Tell the people.
But it's not going to be enough to get it done on the Friday Night Phenom. I feel like I'm going through the 5 stages of grief. I've done the denial. I've done the bargaining. I've done the anger. And now we're at the final road stop, which is acceptance. Despite how good Marshall plays every week, I am accepting that he is not going to win the Phenom. But hey, the stats don't lie.
You know what? I might get a couple burner accounts together and throw in some votes for Marshall Shepard that way. At least, you know, if there's
There's a 6th step, which is just total pain and anguish in your own brain.
I don't want to see you advance to that next level, Storm. So at least for me, I'm going to do my part with Marshall Shepard. We'll see if Shelby fans do the same. Drew Becker of Worcester had a great performance, a couple of touchdowns, 19 completions, over 250 yards passing. This a rivalry game against Ashland, who played really well down to the wire in this game, but because of the play of Becker, it just wasn't enough. G-Man, this dude runs the offense well. He's smooth. He's sharp. They run kind of an NFL style of play, and you see there, he's got the wheels to get in when he needs to.
Absolute precision from Becker versus the Arrows really all night long. He was dropping BBs all over the field right here to Mike McKee, dodging multiple defenders, getting back to the end zone. But he was tremendous in the win over rival Ashland. And as you can see, he can do it with his legs and do it with his arm. He's very good at play action, which you don't really see in high school a lot. But he's a very good play action quarterback. Drew Becker is a big reason that Worcester knocked off their rival Ashland on the road.
So Becker is your 5th nominee. Make sure that you cast your vote to pick a winner, but please, folks, a limit of 1 per person. Now, let's meet the top 5 plays of the week presented by MTD Products in Shelby. 5 nominees coming your way, beginning with numero uno, and everybody loves a winner, right, boys? Well, especially when you wait until the final moments and do something dramatic like Bryce Hannum did, squeezing in an 8-yard game-winning TD pass to Kane Heyman with just 6 seconds showing on the clock.
Yeah, right at the goal line, and that was a really close call. As you see, we're going to get a nice slow view of it here. That's clutch time, huge catch to get them over the top, get a win with time ticking down. That's always going to feel good, and you live for those moments as a player.
Mohawk knocks off Winford 14-10. That actually punched their ticket into the postseason. Mohawk now winners in 4 of their last 5. None more dramatic than that. Nominee 2 featured a dude wearing number 2 who's covered by 2 guys, and that's just simply not enough here. How about Micah McKee skying over and skiing through the Ashland secondary and even waves goodbye at the end of the trip into the end zone.
Becker drops a dime out of the bucket straight into Micah McKee's hand, and he does the rest. Goes up grown man strength, mossing multiple defenders, and he will do the rest, scooting and scoring for the Worcester Generals. They pick up a big win on the road.
17-7 over the Ashland Arrows. Play number 3 has been making its rounds on the internet. Maybe the catch of the year on the OH.Report airwaves. And how about OBJ-esque, says Travis Berardi.
Yeah, that was one of the greatest catches I've ever seen. It has over 20,000 views on Twitter alone. Woo! National attention. Max Preps actually picked it up as well. And why shouldn't they? Because that was just phenomenal.
Now watch Peyton Lester. He's going to navigate the pocket here like he's a Garmin at play 4. He's going to send a rocket ball into the atmosphere, and Blake Bonham going to catch the falling star. He's actually going to rip it from the defender in the end zone. 42-yard bomb track for East Knox in the Devil Dog game.
Yeah, I mean, in a rivalry game, those are the plays you want to make, the elusiveness there in the pocket, getting the ball away, putting it right where only his guy can go up and get it. Look at the precision, and hey, that's a 50-50 ball if I've ever seen it, but East Knox able to come down with it.
The Bulldogs would win on the road at Danville 35-21, that too right at the end of the half. Our final nominee requires no protection for the dome piece because Cubs fullback Zane Finley don't need a lid to break the plane of the end zone. He's going to let the hair breathe, folks. 22-yard TD burst. Big run and no helmet necessary.
And this one's going to go right down Broadway Street, right up the middle, right up the gut as Finley is going to take multiple defenders, a couple face masks, maybe illegal hands to the face. I don't think they ever threw a flag either.
Nah.
He reached across the pylon like a grown man move and spark plug get in the end zone with a 22-yard run. Huge play from him and his Cubs.
Lucas blank small school power Mogador 14-0 to earn the number 1 playoff seed. And those are your nominees. Vote now to decide a winner and just 1 vote per person, please. Well, gentlemen, it is spooky season, of course. Halloween just right around the corner. It's going to be going down on Sunday. So first off, I just want to know, anybody going to be dressing up on Sunday? We're going to see some costumes on you guys?
No. Maybe.
I'll be at the Vikings game. I don't know if I'm rocking a jersey yet or if I'm going with a costume. So I guess maybe if you guys see me on TV, maybe you guys will find out then.
All right. Hayden, you going to be dressing up this year?
I don't have anything planned yet. Steelers, Browns, so might just have to go with the generic jersey for a costume. Do a little double duty, but we'll see.
Go with the generic, just sad face after your Steelers lose.
Yeah.
You too, Travis, you're going to be sporting one of these?
I'm going to be sporting a Heinz Ward jersey. I'm going to be so happy when I text you afterwards. Hey, good game, but just not enough for the Browns this year because the Browns is the Browns, right?
The Browns is the Browns is the Browns. That's why I'm dressed up nice today, thanks to the Browns. All right, so maybe we're going to dress up this weekend, maybe we're not, but what I want to know, guys, what is the worst Halloween costume that you have ever put on your body? Hayden, I've only heard what yours was just by one word. How did you even do this? What was it?
Well, being young, I'm not sure where my head really was or where the thought process was or what exactly encouraged me to desire this. It's not the worst for the effort that my father put into it, but the one word that sums it up is simply boat. I was a boat for Halloween. You know, my dad got to work and he carved one out of cardboard, and then it had some straps that I put over my shoulder, and I would say it was probably the worst for my execution of it. Probably didn't work out too well. And it's got to be the worst. I sadly don't have a picture of it, but it's probably for everyone's best interest that they don't have to see it.
All right, Travis, can you top that? Have you been worse than a boat?
Well, before I show you, I have a picture of another costume I had, but my worst one, I got home from football practice early, freshman year of high school, and I saw my friends were going out trick-or-treating, so I just threw a Jerome Bettis jersey on, had running pants with a yellow stripe down the side, and took a Nerf football out. That was just a throw together.
You had me at
terrible.
freshman year trick-or-treat.
Yeah, well,
Continue.
I like candy. Anyway, but I do have a special picture for you. I went as a Ghostbuster.
Whoa.
Yeah.
You're telling me there was one worse than that?
That was 2012, 9 years ago. Had the whole costume, the get up, and a blow up photon pack.
Dang,
with
that
it,
was
too.
12 years ago. That looks like that could have been last year.
Look at you, Mr. Funny there,
Some
aren't
things
you?
never change. All right, G-Man and Storm. What's the worst of the worst from you guys?
Mine wasn't so much like that it was the costume. Mine's Luigi, but I think it was just kind of the atmosphere. So we had class one day on Halloween, me and Garrett did, and we dressed up as Luigi, and I'll leave Garrett's for his, but mine was Luigi, and no one else in class dressed up. So we had to just go through 2 straight classes of just being dressed up in Halloween costumes, and you know, it was a little weird experience, but
You stood out a little bit.
yeah, it was fun at the same time.
Well, I was a poor little college student, so I didn't want to spend a lot of money on a costume. And my teacher, when I was in high school, actually just gifted me a hot dog costume. So I was like, you know what, let's have a little fun with it. Threw on the hot dog. Still wear it to this day. I mean, it's my go-to outfit. Looking a little wide there, but Storm's costume came with a mustache, and I ended up just throwing the mustache on because Storm already had one. So a little bit of creativity there, but I'm definitely going to go with the hot dog. But I still wear it, so I have a little bit of pride in it.
As an old person who's not afraid to dress up on Halloween, I've been doing it basically in my entire life, and I've had so many bad ones. As I really think back, the worst of the worst that I can at least remember my experience, I was in grade school and I dressed up like a girl, you know, and I had, you know, I think one of my mom's brasiers on. I had it stuffed with some stuff. You know, my legs were kind of hanging out there with some pantyhose. It wasn't a good look. I've done some things in my older years too that I'm not proud of, but the ones that I actually have some pictures for, I dressed up like a character from Braveheart one year, and because of the explanation of my friend that you're not truly Scottish if you wear drawers with the outfit, I kind of flew commando that night. Was not a great idea. It was very cold. We went to a couple of parties. Sitting on couches obviously was not a wise idea, so I stood most of that evening. And then one other costume that I remember, I just grabbed a bunch of random stuff off of a rack at the thrift shop, and I came up with this guy right here. My family looks cute. Shout out to Jory, looking great, and my daughter Aaliyah. But for me, I just put on a big wig. That sticker that's on my shirt actually came on that jacket, and I remember that his name was Lionel Kayagan. He was a vacuum salesman, and that's all I was just a vacuum salesman named Lionel. And I walked around talking in a weird voice, and people didn't understand what my costume was. Neither did I. It wasn't anything that made sense. Just what I found on the rack. $2 though.
It's unique.
Can't beat
Legit,
that.
I like it actually too a lot.
Creative.
Oh my God! Is this Jory from back in the day? If you weren't scared of clowns yet,
We are.
How about now? Actually, that's not too bad. That's not too bad, Hollenbeck. Looking kind of sharp there. But what's on your head? Is that like a jester outfit, right? Yeah. You were just trying to, well, kind of like a mime too. I don't know what you're doing there.
I wish you had the picture of you. You were E.T. What was it? What was the costume? We had a costume party. I went as Forrest Gump, and you and Jory went as you were Elliot with E.T. on the front or something like that.
That was a great costume. I was really proud of that one. I probably have a photo of that somewhere. But like I said, I dress up every year, and I'm proud of it. So I'm going to be at the Browns-Steelers game on Sunday. I'm going to find something wacky to wear. So hopefully you guys too get in the spirit of Halloween. Get dressed up. Don't be lame. Enjoy. And get some Halloween candy, pass them out to the kids. We've got some gifts to be given out to you guys throughout the week, I think. We got graphics for this? We're going to show you? Okay. Here's what's coming up on the OH.Report this week. We got a ton. Lots of playoffs, guys, including tonight. Hey, G-Man and Storm, you're going to be heading up to Klein. What are the folks going to see?
Lexington's defense.
Yeah, for real. It's going to be a defensive struggle tonight. I haven't seen Huron play with my own eyes, but I know Lexington, they don't really score the ball a lot, but they don't have to. Peter Tem up there's got those boys doing the right thing, playing defense, because, you know, offense may win games, but defense wins championships.
And I think the rain's going to help Lexington too here. It's going to be a little slippery. It's going to be hard to score. That fits right into Lexington's hands.
So we're going to have a highlight of that one coming up later tonight. MVP interviews, the whole 9 yards. And we're going to be live and free tonight over at StarTech Stadium here in Madison, where the Colts of Clear Fork are going to be going head-to-head with Ontario. And we typically know how this shakes out, Travis. When these two teams get together, it's the Warriors that seem to get the upper hand. What's your feelings on what's going to go down tonight?
Well, you and I were on the call when this game took place earlier this year at the Colt Corral, and Ontario's team speed was just too much for Clear Fork. They had a good defensive strategy trying to advance the ball. It was close early on, but then Ontario just got too many through balls, got too many open looks, and look for more of that. And Ontario, they got some of their best players back as well. Gage Weaver is back, their top scorer. I believe he has 34 goals. He didn't play in that first match. He'll be playing here tonight. And you got to remember, this is on turf, so it's going to be a fast track tonight.
So you can catch that one live here in just a couple of hours, guys. We're going to be over there. Coming up tomorrow, we've got a girls' district soccer semifinal that Hayden Gray is going to be a part of. Tell us more.
Yeah, I got to go to the semifinal match for Crestview last week, and they really did a nice job of switching up a little bit of their game plan that I'd seen them had early in the year. They won in a 1-0 game, so they're also not a team that puts a ton of goals on the board, but if they find one, their defense is pretty locked down, so if they're able to get one tomorrow, I think they'll give themselves a nice chance. But Liberty Benton, that's a tough game. I know that we got to see them in a highlight with Ontario earlier this year, so I'll be interested to see how that one's going to turn out tomorrow.
Yeah, the Eagles actually knocked off the Lady Warriors, so Mary Leeper and company better turn it up to the next level. Get a nice dub there. We're also going to have some live and free volleyball for you folks coming up tomorrow. St. Paul, I believe, is the number 2 seed out there. Monroeville's number 3, or one of those two. But always state ranked, Travis. These two teams have been phenomenal for going on, it seems like, a whole generation.
Yeah, and Monroeville, they went to a state Final Four 2 years ago. They're constantly just retooling and staying on top of the Firelands Conference as well as St. Paul. We saw, Mackenzie and I saw St. Paul at Crestview earlier this season in St. Paul. They're just as good. This should be a great one. The first of 2 volleyball matches that we're going to have for you tomorrow night.
Oh, a little foreshadowing. So the winner of this game is going to play the winner of these 2 teams right here. Seneca East, I think maybe a little bit of an upset, knocking off the Lucas Cubs. Buckeye Central, they are the number 1 seed out there. They've been smashing everybody. They're state ranked number 3. Travis, how good are these Bucks for real?
They are very, very good. Only 1 loss on the year. State number 3. They've already taken on Seneca East and swept them both times that they met earlier this season. So the Buckeye Central Bucks, the top seed. I'm trying not to make predictions because we like all 4 of these teams, but I think Buckeye Central Monroeville 1 versus 2 later this week could be one heck of a match to watch. So I think Buckeye Central, just got to play their game and they should be able to move on.
All right, on Wednesday, we've got some girls soccer and all Richland County Final Four in the district. We're going to talk about that in a second. But first, how about the Worcester Generals? They've got an opportunity, G-Man, to win their district as well in Division I.
Yeah, it was a 3-2 game against Broadview Heights a couple days ago, and I think they were a little surprised by that. I talked to a few players after the game, and they didn't think it was going to be that close, but then they turned it on in the second half, shut out Broadview Heights in the second half, and put 3 goals up themselves. So they're confident. Talked to a few of them. They're very confident in their ability to win this game and move on to a district final.
So G-Man's going to have a highlight for you guys from that one, some interviews after the match as well. But the live streams that we're going to have available for you folks involve the Madison Lady Rams and Clear Fork Lady Colts. Hayden, this is a great matchup, man. I really like this one. Clear Fork seems like they're starting to peak, but Madison, they have owned this district. They've won it 4 straight years, so, something's got to give here.
Yeah, I got to watch Madison very early on in the year. No surprises. They've been able to just stay consistently good with what they have and, just not really have to rebuild. Just keep continuing that greatness. But we've talked a lot about the Clear Fork girls this year as well. Brittany Bechtel has a really good program going down there right now. So 2 teams separated by just a few miles. So I'm really excited to see this one. And I don't know if I can honestly predict a winner from it yet. So I'm real anxious to get to that one.
Well, the winner of that game is going to play the winner between Ontario and Lexington. They're going to be playing in the first half of that doubleheader. And these 2 teams met earlier in the year, and it was actually an own goal by Lady Lex right at the very end of the match that determined Ontario being a winner and undefeated in that one. So Lexington's starting to play a whole lot better than they were earlier in the year. Lauren Alexander and company, they're starting to come along, but the Lady Warriors, they're state ranked. They are just loaded from top to bottom with talent. So that should be a great game, a great district semifinal night for you guys on Wednesday. Moving forward now, we've got some football. 7 football games, actually. This one's on Saturday. Lucas Cubs at home against the Mapleton Mounties. And, what more can we say about the Cubs? 8th straight year that they're in the postseason. Scott Spittler and his bunch, they got it going on. 8-1 overall. And we're going to be tag teaming with WMAN. We're going to have the lovely pipes of Aaron Hines. And I believe Ontario head coach Chris Miller is going to be jumping on board with him to call that game. So look for that one Saturday night. As well as a highlight, this one is from Friday, Clear Fork and Shelby. We talked about this on the Pigskin a little bit. Storm, you saw round 1 of that, just like a few hours ago it seems like. Any way that round 2 is different?
I don't know. Like I said earlier in the show, my philosophy is it's a lot harder to beat a team the second time around. They kind of know your tricks. They know what your game plan is. So if there's anyone who can get it done, it's Dave Carroll. I think he's an excellent head coach, but I don't know. I think Rob Mahaney's going to have something to say about that.
All right, still 5 more football games coming your way. What else we got? What are we going to do? How about the Clyde Flyers and Galleon Tigers, who just got into the postseason by the skin of their teeth? 15 seed, going on the road against a number 2. Any way, G, that you see the Tigers being able to crash the Flyers, getting the win?
Man, never say never, but I mean, it is going to be very tough for the Tigers to especially go on the road all the way up there. And Cooper Kent injured his shoulder last Friday night. If they're without their starting quarterback, I don't see a chance for them to upset Clyde, but they could play spoiler. You never know.
All right, so we're going to have a highlight for that one for you guys. We're also going to have Mansfield Senior versus Lexington, two Richland County teams, again, going toe-to-toe. It was a pretty good game in the regular season. Again, I mentioned earlier in the show, I think that the final score didn't really indicate how well Mansfield Senior played in that one. So the Tigers and Minutemen, they're going to get round 2, the winner, an opportunity to advance deeper in the playoffs in Division III, Region 10. Eastern, going on the road at East Knox, the Bulldogs and Chet Looney Stadium. You know, it's just a special kind of atmosphere down there, Travis. When you're down there with the cowbells and the horns all blowing, it's loud and crazy.
I mean, Chet Looney Stadium is one of the great Division VII venues in all of high school football in Ohio. You got fans on the hills there. You got the fans in the yard right beyond one of the goalposts with their setups and everything like that. But this East Knox squad, they're battle tested. They're playing at their best football, I believe, right now at the moment. Up knocking off Highland. Winning the Devil Dog game as well. A lot of momentum going into this, and as a 4 seed, they get 2 home games, so that's momentum too. They want to play another game next week at home as well, so they'll be motivated.
All right, so we're looking to have that one for you guys live and free on Saturday night. This one as well. 2 KMAC rivals getting an opportunity to play again at the Castle. We already saw round 1 go down there, and the Freddies took care of business. Northmore, they've lost their last 2. Fredericktown's starting to get hot, Hayden, so this one might be closer than a lot of folks think.
Yeah, I think this might be one of the top games, especially live games that we have this weekend, because as you said, Northmore's had a string of bad luck here the last few weeks with injuries and just their level of play. And Fredericktown, man, beating Centerburg, who beat Northmore. I just think that, again, another rematch of a regular season game. I think it's going to be a great atmosphere there, and we'll see. I think that's another unpredictable one. Round 2, we'll have to see who's going to come victorious.
And you'll be able to see that right here on the OH.Report Saturday night. One more game as well. And that's going to be the Crestview Cougars taking on Northwood and the Rangers. We'll just leave it up to the Crestview folks who feel like this team has what it takes to get to a state Final Four. Tell us how they get it done in Week 11.
I'll take this one, Storm. Crestview's playing Northwood, and the only common opponent between Crestview and Northwood is Ottawa Hills. Northmore last week lost to Ottawa Hills, I believe, 2-5.
That's an accurate score.
It's a very weird score. You don't see that a lot. And Crestview beat Ottawa Hills 35-10. So Northwood coming down to the Cougar Den. It's going to be a struggle, but as they mentioned, survive in advance, they can get it done and be a huge win for them.
All right, so a loaded schedule for you guys this week. And then also those semifinals that we showed you guys for the soccer and the volleyball. We will have the championship matches as well. We just don't know who's playing yet, so we don't have cool graphics built for them just yet. But lots to get to this week on the OH.Report. This is one of my favorite weeks of the year when the football playoffs start and then you get into district play in soccer and volleyball, because a lot of the local schools, they get opportunities to play each other again. You see a lot of round 2s going down in the postseason play, and you can all catch it right here live and free on the OH.Report. But for now, hey, we got to get over to Madison. We got to set up for the soccer match. You guys got to get over to your highlights. So we're going to get out of here. We'll see you around on the Facebook, the YouTubes, the Twitters, the Instagrams, our website. It's all there for you. Lock it in. So long.